So as mentioned, Java SE is standard edition, which is called Core Java, Java EE, which is called Advanced Java. You might have heard something called J2EE. Okay, it is Java version 2, Enterprise Edition. Okay, but J2E is a very famous one at that point of time. It was, the lot of technologies were new. That's where J2E. Even you can see it nowadays in the few of that JD job descriptions also this, but it is not J2E, guys. You have to remember it is JEE because the current version is Java Enterprise Edition 8 or 9. Okay. So when someone is saying J2E, it is way older version. We have to talk about of JEE. And intermediately, there is one more thing called Java ME. Okay. Which is called Micro Edition. This is used for mobile application. Used for mobile application development. Okay. So ideally in the initial stages, you have, three editions: Java SE, Standard Edition, Enterprise Edition, Micro Edition. Okay. Then, as I mentioned, people talk about of J2EE because recruiters were not aware of the technical advancements and all. They still use a J2EE as part of the JD, but it is JEE. Okay. So coming back here. Now, let us understand something called variables. Okay. So what I'll do is, as part of this Java tech, I'll create a new class. Okay. In this class, I want to change the package name also. It is variables we are going to discuss. Variables. Okay. Explore variables. What is variable? Can any of you would like to answer? What is a variable?
Variable is user set value that can change throughout the execution of the program.
Okay, user set value that may change throughout the execution, right? It's correct. Anybody else would like to answer?
It stores single data value.
It stores single data value, correct? I'm writing here, stores single data value. And Nishal told user set values, it may change throughout the execution. Is it correct, Nishal? This is what you told, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So guys, both are correct actually. Okay. But the second one is little tricky. See, first one is user set values. It may change throughout an execution. As the name suggests variable, it may vary. Okay. So whenever you are executing a program, ideally you may require some data to be processed. Take a mathematical calculation. From childhood till today, we have done a lot of maths, right?
Yes.
So they will give us one challenge or one question. To solve that question, we go through multiple stages and multiple steps. So like how we solve a specific challenge or a problem with different steps. Similarly, when you are executing your program, you may require some information temporarily stored. So for that reason, you will use a variable. Okay. Variable stores information or value. Okay. And it may change over the execution of the program. That means you might be using in multiple places, the value may change. And if it is not changed, we call it as fixed variables or final variables, fixed values. Okay. So it stores information, right? And it used to set values, it may change. Now, coming to here, it stores single data. Okay, see what happens is this variable may store single data, may store multiple data also. If it is storing single data, okay, if it is stored single data, single value, I can say, you call it as variable. If it is multiple values, you call it as array. Okay, did I answer the second one? Store single data, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm repeating here. What is a variable? A variable is a temporary space for us to store information or certain value. It may change over the execution of a program. That means, let's say initially I'm setting a value as 20. Over a program execution completion, it may go to 100 or any value. I may again initialize it to 0 also. And it can hold single value. Holds single value. You call it as if it holds single value, you call it as variable. If it holds multiple values, you can call it as a array. Okay. So today we will discuss a bit of arrays also. Okay. What does variable consist of? It consists of a type, name, and value. Variable is formed using three things. It's a type, which you can say it is a data type, the variable name, and variable value. Right? Let's go ahead and see now. So, guys, without your method, nothing is going to work in Java. Your execution starts from main method. So let me add main method here, main control space. I brought my main method. Guys, yesterday I shared the yesterday's notes. I'm keeping in the Google Drive. I believe you get a chance to see that, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So every day I'm going to keep the notes over there so that people can refer whatever we are talking about. And that's going to be your strong foundation, guys. Whatever I'm writing, right? Whatever I'm explaining, I'm writing, right? It has a lot of meaning and value. If you understand this well, you can understand the whole terminology about of the technology. Right? Now here I have my main method. Let me try to increase the font a bit. Control function, or it is visible, right? The fonts, or else I'll change it later. It is visible, right? Currently. Yes, guys, is it visible, my program?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Now, what I want to do is, I want to go and create a creation of a variable. Okay. So what all we require for a variable? It's a data type. Second, it require a name. It may require, may not require a value. May not. Okay. May or may not. Now we'll see, we'll understand. Now, here it comes to the data types in Java. Okay. So let's go here, data types in Java. What is a data type? See, we know that to store a data, we require a variable. And what sort of information we can store in a variable? Guys, you understand my question?
Yes.
Yeah. See, I'm creating a variable. Let's say you're doing a maths. You create a variables. All you keep it is a numbers, right?
Yes.
The numbers might be real numbers. Real numbers means with your fractions or a whole number. But here, when you are creating a program, what sort of data which you collect from the user, or what sort of data you may show to the user? So all the data will have a data type. So can you try to help me with the data types?
Integer,
Integer, okay.
float,
Load, okay.
string,
String, okay.
Character.
boolean,
Boolean,
Short, long,
short, long, okay.
double,
Double,
char.
char, okay. Anything else? That's it, guys. So these are called primitive data types. So data types in Java are two types: primitive data types. Okay. Then we have something called wrapper classes. Okay. So wrapper classes, I'm not explaining you right away. I'll explain in some time. But primitive data types, we have a primitive data types. What are the primitive data types? Again, it is broadly categorized into four. Integers. Integers are called whole numbers, which has four types, starting with short.
Bytes, sir.
Yeah,
Not two.
you're right. Starts with byte. You're right. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me. Byte, short, integer, which is you call it as int, and long. Okay, I'm removing whatever is I have picked up from here. Long, integer, I have taken out. So integers are whole numbers. That's where you can use a ceil or floor. It doesn't allow the fractions. It will take out the fractions. Then you have real numbers. Those are float and double. So I'm taking out from here float and double. After that, it comes to your Boolean. The Boolean is true, false, right?
Yes.
So you can say yes or no, true, false. For a few questions, our answers are yes or no, right?
Yeah.
Would you like to have a coffee? No. Whether this specific item exists in the cart? Yes. So this is yes, no, true, false. Okay, I'm taking out Boolean. Then I keep it here, the another one called character. It's a cat which holds single character. Right, guys? Then what is string then?
It's a set of characters.
It's a set of characters. String has a special meaning in Java. String is not a data type, guys. String is an object. Okay? String is an object. It is not a variable. String is an object. Okay. What we can say string? String is a, you can say character array or sequence of characters. Okay. Spring is having a special concept in Java. We will see that in some time. But for our understanding, I can say primitive data types. The primitive data types meaning it holds a value. Let's say I ask your gender. Let's say you are giving a character M for male, F for female, for example. I'm asking you, let's say, what is your age? We usually tell in numbers, right? Let's say 25, 26, 30, right? All those are integers. When you go for a real numbers, which is a floating, let's say if you take a bank interest, let's say 7.5%, that's a home loan interest, or a tax. Okay, when you're calculating a tax, you may end up paying the percentages also. So that's how it is, the real numbers. And whereas Boolean is, it will accept yes, no, or a true, false. So here it is literally only true, false. We don't take a yes, no. I'm giving it for your reference. Some places you'll have a yes, no. And some places, guys, you'll have a 0 and 1 also. 0 is present, 1 is not present. That means 0 is true, 0 is false, 1 is true. Okay, here we will use only true, false. Then character, as I discussed, that single character. Then we'll come into the wrapper classes little later point of time. Again, string is an object. We will see why string is an object, why it is not a data type. Okay, I want to store. Okay, again coming into the byte, short, int, long. We'll understand why there are 4 types. How does the information store in the database, guys? How does the information is stored in the system, not in the database? On what format?
Heap memory.
Say again.
Heap memory.
Heap memory is for Java. I'm asking in general, let's say you're using Python or you are using any sort of programming language, or you are using your computer, you're storing your photos. What format it will store?
In the form of zeros and ones.
Yes, perfect. It's in a binary format, right? Your system understands only binary format, zeros and ones, right? Now, let's say, take an example of age. Age of a person. What is the maximum age a person can live, guys? According to us, or a Guinness records?
120.
120, correct? Okay. Now, let's see, it's a bit is either 0 or 1. A byte is
8 bits.
8 bits, correct? 8 bits. Then kilobyte?
Oh, 1000 bytes.
Yeah, kilobyte is 1000 bytes. Megabyte is 1000 kilobytes, right?
Yes.
And so on. Megabyte, gigabyte, correct? So I'll just keep all of these in. Oh, yeah, it's okay. So now, let's say 1 byte can hold 8 bits. Okay. If I give you 25 number, okay, and I want you to store in, what is the number format which you use in our day-to-day life?
Decimal system.
Decimal system, correct? So number system humans use in their daily life is decimal. So the decimals are from 0 to 9. Then if it is 10, again it is a repetition of 1, 0. And if it is 11, 1, 2 times, so on, so. But there are different numbering systems, which is binary, which we discussed about of zeros and ones. There is an octal system, octal number system, which goes from 0 till 7. There is no 8 and all. 0 till 7. Then you have a hexadecimal system, hexadecimal. In the hexadecimal, it will go from 0 to 9. After that, it go from A to F. Okay, hexadecimal is 16. Till 0 to 9 is 10. After that, A, B, C, D, E, F is 6. Total 16. Right, guys? But we as a humans use decimal number system. So let's say now the age which we live is 120 years. Now for 1 byte, what is the information which is stored, which can be stored? I would like to go for a internet and quickly pick up one of the image. Let's say binary numbering system. Okay. So I want to take one of the image. And let me pick up this one. Okay. If you see here, this is a binary number system. And this is, can you say this is 1 byte?
Yes.
See, this is 8 bits, right? Guys, each bit is either 0 or 1. If you observe here, there is 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Now, if you observe, wherever zeros are there, there is no value. Wherever 1 is there, that specific location value is present. So, if I give number 1 and 7 zeros, if I give number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, its value is 128. If you observe here, it's 2 power 7. The first bit is 2 power 0, second bit is 2 power 1, third bit is 2 power 2 square, fourth bit is 2 cube, so on so. The last bit, which is 128, is 2 power 7. Now this is the 128. Let's say if I want to go for 129, what we can do here is, you can go here and change the first bit to 1. This is going to be 129. This is how the numbering system works. Okay. Guys, are you clear? Let's say if I want to store 10, guys, first imagine 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Its value is completely 0. If I want to have a 10, then in that case, first value is 1, 2, 4, and 8. I'm going for replacing the 8 location and 2 location. Now its value is 10. If I want to go for 11, what I'll do is I copy this one. You go here. The 11 number is, this is 1. Okay. So this is how the binary, and binary we are not using, guys. We don't require, but we should understand it. Whenever you want to store the information, the reason is a lot of people, when they are designing in applications, they do the very, very basic silly mistakes, which can be avoided. The reason is, whenever you are running an application, you have a limited amount of storage available. That is your hard disk. Hard disk or a SSD, solid state drive disk, right? Your application, if it is a data incentive, loads of data is coming, or even not coming also, you have to design this application in a manner it works effectively. So, guys, is it looking tough? Are you able to understand?
Yes.
Rest of you? Okay, guys, you stop me anywhere. If you don't understand, please stop me. I always go on a deep foundation because this will give you a lot of insights for you when you're discussing about of applications. Okay, so now coming back, why I'm telling all these things is, if you're not aware of these things, you don't know what is the meaning of 1 byte, 2 byte. See, byte is, it will occupy 1 byte memory. Memory here. The short is, it takes 2 bytes. Integer takes 4 bytes. Long will take 8 bytes. Okay. That is the reason. If you should be knowing about of what data type be used when. For example, let's go here. Our program, I want to give age. Age equal to, we know maximum is 128. Let's say I'm taking a maximum, what we discussed at the moment is 120. Now this age 120, whether it will fit into the byte, short, int, or long. Which one it goes? I can go here and I can give a long. Still, there is no error. It is not complaining because long can hold 88 8 bytes. 8 bytes into 8 into 8. 64 bytes it will hold. It will hold a large amount of value. But whereas byte is sufficient for it to store. The byte is sufficient for you to store 120. The reason is 1 byte can hold 128. Okay. If it is above 128, you can go for short. Short can hold 2 bytes, which is 16 bit. Each byte consists of 8 bits. Okay, byte consists of 8 bits. 1 kilobyte is 1000 bytes. 1 megabyte is 1000 kilobytes. See, that's the reason nowadays people get, not enough storage messages you will receive in your phone because you keep on taking photos or videos. And if your hard disk or your memory is not sufficient, right? It will tell you that, it's running out of memory. I mean to say, literally say that, you cannot store this information or you have to clean up the information. The reason is behind it is using a specific data types to store your information. Okay, moving on. Byte can hold. Even you can give a long is not a problem. Or a lot of people will directly use integer. That's not a good practice. Okay, so here, enter your tip. Okay, use the right data type to store the information as every data type uses specific memory size. Okay, it's a simple question. What is the age a person can live and what data type is best suitable? Then you can say byte is sufficient. Okay, rest of the things is, fine. Now let's say you want to go for a salary, a person's salary. Then you can go for a short salary equal to, let's say, a 25 lakhs, 25 lakhs, right? Now it is saying that type cannot convert from int to short. By default, what happens is default goes into the integer. You have to make it as short to keep this information within the short data type. Guys, I'm talking about of memory. Okay, your application consists of memory. Imagine I'm going to take 100 employees. Each employee has a age and salary. Imagine I'm using integer for age. Then what happens is integer take 4 bytes. Unnecessarily 100 into 400. 400 bytes, right? 100 bytes was sufficient, but you're using 400 bytes. It unnecessarily occupies memory. These all will be useful when you are going to the next levels, but still if you have a foundation, it is good for you. That is where I'm trying to cover this. Okay, so I'll give a few more examples. Int, let's say turnover. Turnover is a company's, how much of business they did it. For example, 7 crore, 700,000,000, for example. Okay. Now let's go for long. Let's say our budget, let's say India budget. It may go for 1 lakh crores, right? 1 lakh. This is 1 lakh crores. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? And if it is long, is saying that the literal is int is out of range. Then you have to say, you have to use a long. Oh, sorry, you have to use L here, guys. See, you have to use it as an L for it. These are whole numbers or integer data types. Is it clear for you?
Yes.
Okay. Now coming back, the next one is we are talking about of real numbers. Okay. Let's say float tax equal to 7.5. So by default, it will expect you a double type. You have to give it as a F for floating point. Okay. Then you say double. In this double, let's say sales, that is a, let's say yesterday there was a sales has happened, and 5 crore 84 lakhs 72,356 dot 63 pice. Guys, these pices are mandatory in banks. Okay, maybe not in every places, but banks, especially financial institutions, those pices also matters, because when you're doing a transactions, right? So the transactions may have a certain fees and all. So that's where these fractions are important for us. Okay, this is float and double. Then we will go with the next one, which is Boolean. Let's say Boolean, let's say fresher. Let's say false. For example, you are joining to a new company. There is an option whether you're a fresher or an experienced guy. So there is a fresher is false, that is you're experienced. Then let's go for character. Let's say which one we can take. As I say, gender. Okay, let us take gender. Let's say F for female. Now, if you observe, these all are called primitive data types. What is a primitive data types? Means it holds a value. That's it. It can't do anything else, but the value may change. Okay. Are you clear, guys?
Yes.
Okay. So now, if you observe, if you want to create a variable, you are using a type, you are using a variable name, and you are assigning a value. Okay. If you observe here, I'm not giving a type here and I'm trying to assign a value. Do you see there is an error?
Yes.
Yeah. So what is happening here is Java is called statically typed language. Okay. Java is statically typed language. What is the statement? What is statically typed? So that means whenever you're creating a variables, when you create a variable, you must specify the data type it holds. If you see here, the point is when you create a variable, you must specify the data type it holds. Now, imagine you have a byte a is equal to 120. Think about of it, you're not giving a data type here, and you're simply giving a is equal to 120. It will not allow like that. It will allow you have to specify a type. But if you go for a JavaScript and all, that is called dynamic programming language. You don't require to specify a data type. Okay, we'll try to see it quickly so that you will understand it well. So I open a new tab here. I right click on my browser, go to inspect. What did I do? I right click on a tab, it's a default page, inspect. I go for a console. Are you guys able to see this one? My console.
Yes.
Okay. Here I will say name equal to Ignite Tech. Right? Now, if you see, I'm not given the type of the variable. If I go for type of name, type of name, type of is a keyword. Do you see it came as a string?
Yes.
Now I go here again. Now I'll give name equal to 100. Now type of name, type of name. It should be, why is it giving it as a number? One moment. Okay, name equal to, let me go for name equal to false. Yeah. say type of name. This is not giving as expected, guys. This is a
Try a different one. Give a different variable.
okay. Okay, fine. Let's do that way. So let's say total equal to 100. Now you see type of total. Do you see it's a number?
Yes.
I'm not specifying here what data type it is holding. Okay, JavaScript is a dynamic programming language. You need not to specify your data type. But whereas Java is statically typed, you can't create any kind of code without a data type specified. And later point of time, when you're assigning a values, right? If you assign a different value, it will give you an error. Let's say now turnover is, we have given 7 CR. If I go here, turnover equal to, let's say 245, there is no error, right? Because it's no turnover is having an integer data type. But if I give here, let's say hello, see here, it will give an error for it, saying the type mismatch cannot convert from string to integer. I am trying to pass a string, but it is expecting the integer. So this is called statically typed language. Is it clear, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. So the statically typed means whenever you are specifying a variable, you have to give its data type. Few of the programming languages are dynamic programming languages. It don't take a data type. But for that reason, JavaScript is having its own challenges. They have come with something called a TypeScript. Now with JavaScript also, you can specify what type of data it can hold. Otherwise, there is a ambiguity will happen. Now, this is how you specify variables. Now, let's take an example. Yesterday, we were discussing about of a student object, right? Let's say when you have a student, what is the data you can store about of a student? Let's say a student name, which we can go it as a string, which I was telling you, right, sometime back. String is not a data type, but it is a object. We will see about of that in some time. But the student gender is, let's say, male or female, whether the student, let's say, given the transfer certificate, for example, transfer certificate received, you can say true or false. Then his marks can be given in float, right? And his age can be given by byte. Then the student branch can be given in the string. Then you can go and let's say the fees for the program or a fees he has to pay might be in the short or int or long. So when someone is designing an application, they know what is the data types which they require to use for that specific application. Clear on this part?
Yes.
Okay. Now let us see the scope of variables. I say new class variables scope. I'm using a main method here. I'm selecting a main method. So I need now to write a main method over there. I will delete this to do. I say, how can I do control? Okay, control L. Okay, 1 second. Control D. Guys, control D is used to delete a line. Okay. IDE shortcut. Control plus D to delete a line in the editor. Right? I'm doing it again. Control Z I'm doing. If I keep my cursor here, usually what do? We go here, select it and delete, right? Need not to do that. Keep the cursor over there. Control D, the line will be deleted. Now, what we want to do here is, let us understand a scope. Let's say this is a method. Inside this method, I can keep a variable integer. Let's say balance equal to 250. Okay, I can go and print this one, syso, system.out.println, let's say balance. In the brackets, I'm giving balance. And whenever I'm printing, right, if I want to add more values or append values, I use plus. Plus is used for addition if it is numbers, and if it is a string, it is called concatenation. Okay, and balance. I say control space. Now I'm doing control S to say this one. I see something in chat for a moment. Okay, 1020. Perfect. Now let me execute this one. Alter Shift X. You can see in the right one, J I pressed. Okay, to run the program. I'll add this one also. Alter Shift X plus J. Alter Shift X and J. You can see here Alter X, J, run the application. Alter plus Shift plus X plus J to execute a Java program. Right, guys? Now it is printing a value for me, which is whatever I have given. Balance is 250. Now, the scope of this variable, let's say I'm going to have another method. Let's say integer tax calculation. Okay. I'm just using it here just for a namesake. Let me give it as a void, guys. I'll tell you later point of time when we come to a methods, what is void, how you write a method, what is the use of them. Now the balance is in this flower brackets. Can I copy this one and go ahead and put across my balance here? Let's say balance, I'm giving it as, let's say 2, just for a reference. Do you see there is an error? It is showing that balance cannot be resolved to a variable. Are you able to see this?
Yes.
You know, the reason is the balance is, integer balance is mentioned within a square brackets or a flower brackets of a method. So the scope of this variable is only within the method. Okay. And these all are called local variables, local to the method. Okay. What is the types of
Local variable.
Yeah. Types of variables. First one is local variable. So I can say scopes of variables, guys. Scope of variables. Okay, local variable, right? This is local to within this method only. Okay. If I want to make this variable to be used in other methods also, I can pick it up and keep it above the method. This time it is called instance variable. What is it called? Instance variable. So it is not specific to a method, but it is specific to a class. All the methods can access it. Okay. There is an error which is showing here. See here, there is a balance. Balance is showing. The reason is static methods cannot have non-static variables references. Okay. I'm not going to explain that one. I will make it, compiler will not throw any error. Further, I'll explain you what is the use of those and when we can use it. Static. Okay. A static method can reference only a static variable. That's the reason I'm just giving a keyword. Need not to think too deep at the moment for this one. What I made sure is earlier, this balance is mentioned within this method. The scope is only inside that method. That is called local variables. If a variable to be used by multiple methods, you can keep out of the methods, then you call it as an instance variable because your variable scope is a class. When it creates a variable for this one, this variable can be used by anybody else. This is called instance variable. Clear, guys? Local variables. You can say local to a method. For time being, we have seen a method, local to a method. Instance variable. All the methods can access the variable. It is kept out of the methods parallel to the method. It's parallel, right? It is called sibling, right? Because this is also inside a class and method is also inside a class. Understood?
Yes.
Okay. So now there is one more variable called a global variable. Okay. Global variable. I'm not going to explain this at the moment. The reason is I don't want you to confuse, guys. Why Java people don't like is if the concepts are not clear or unable to understand, right? People will get confused and they leave the technology. That's where I see a lot of people were doing that one. I will try to give this global variable little later point of time when we make a progress. For time being, I have showcased you how a local variable works and how a instance variable works. Okay. Now we will go one step deeper into the local variable and instance variable. Then we will move on to from there. Okay. Now, variable scopes. I mentioned it as this is a, guys, that's the reason. All your learnings, your code is transformative. Okay. What is a transformative is, for example, you are giving this class to somebody else who is not part of this class and you want to, let's say, help them. Someone has asked you that, what you're learning, you can give me a code. I will refer that and I'll try to understand. Do you think they will understand with this piece of code, whatever I have written? They may understand it is instance variable because we have mentioned here. But if you observe here, sometime back, I have mentioned the variable inside a main method like this, right? Then I explained you that is called a local variable. Then later point of time, I have kept moved the variable to the top and I mentioned it as an instance variable. That is the reason a lot of people will take it projects from somebody else and they struggle to understand and they doesn't know exactly what is happening. That's where you require a strong foundation, understanding a concepts, how the code will transform to the way you want it to work. Hope you are clarified with this point.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So now we have seen the scope of variables. So global variables, we will discuss little later point of time with examples I'll showcase you. But for time being, we know about of a local variable and instance variable. Now, let's see how local variables function. Let's say I'm going to create a new class, local variable demo, which I can say demonstration. Say public static void main. Now you see here, in local variables, let's say I'm giving integer opening balance. I created a variable. There is no error, but you can see there is one warning which is showing that the value of the local variable opening balance is not used. It is trying to tell you, dude, you have created this variable, but you have not used it, right? Because you create a variable for a purpose, right? You will use it somewhere, right? That's what it is saying, that one. Now, what we want to do is, I want to print this variable. I go for SYSO, control space. I want to print this variable. Now, if you see, it is giving an error for this. See, the local variable opening balance may not have been initialized. Guys, whenever you have created a local variable and you are trying to use it, what is a using mean? Using mean you are assigning or you are printing, right? Here we are trying to print it. That is, we are going to use it one for a purpose, but it is giving a error saying that you have created a variable, but you have not initialized. That means before you use this variable, you have to initialize. The quality of a local variables is you must initialize local variable before you use it. Here, what is the use? We are printing it. Okay, you must initialize local variable before you use it. So if I go here and mention it as 0, now you see the error is gone. Say right click, run as Java application. Now you can see the value has come 0 because we have given 0. Let's say I'm giving it as 125. Right click, run as Java application. It's 125, it is printing. So the intention I'm trying to show you here is, if you creation is not a problem. Guys, if you see here, I have created this variable. No problem. It is not giving me any error. But when you are using it, it will force you to initialize it. Okay. That is where we are giving this value and it is working as expected. So local variables must be initialized before you use it. You must initialize the local variables before you use it. Is it clear with it?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's see the same way for the instance variables. We go to the variables, new, class, instance, variable, demo, say main method. I want to delete this line. What is the shortcut? What's the shortcut I have written some time back? Control D. Okay. Now I go to this local variable. I want to use the similar one. Okay. I go here. I specify. This time, where should I specify the variable? In the top. Int. Okay. Opening. There I have used balance. I'm giving opening amount. Right. Now I want to print it. SYSO control space. Opening amount. Opening. Okay, I have to give a static, guys, here. Remember, because I'm using it within a static method. Static instant int. Okay. Static int. I have to use a static int. Now here, opening amount. Now, do you see here? Is it giving me any error for me? See here, I have used a opening amount, but I have moved the variable to the instance, not in the method. Do you see? Is it giving any error for me? No. If I execute this one, right click, run as Java application. Now you can see the value is given 0. It means whenever you are using instance variables in your method, it will get a default value, but local variables, it will not get a default value. You have to initialize it. Okay. For instance variables, your compiler will provide default value in the event you did not provide a value. Your compiler will provide a default value. Who is providing a value here? In this instance variable, did I provide anything here? Did I give a 0 to here? No, right?
No, sir.
Let me change it to float. I'm changing it to float. Now, right click, run as Java application. Do you see there is 0.0? Right? So I am not giving a value, guys. If it is an instance variable, there is a default value will be assigned by your compiler. So here, what I say is, your compiler will provide a default value in the event you did not provide a value. If you provide a value, it will take, let's say, opening balance. Let's say you're giving 2.5, for example. Okay. It will take 2.5 float, right? It will take this value, 2.5. If you don't provide this value, it will not complain you. See here. When you're doing, it will not complain you. It will take a default value. What is a default value, guys? For all of your data types, there is a default value will be given. If you are using a integers, the default value is 0. Default value is 0. If it is a real numbers, default value is 0.0. If it is Boolean, default value is false. Let us see this now. See, we have seen 0 and we have seen 0.0. Let us see the value now. Now let's say I'm giving it as Boolean. Right? Let me execute this. Alt+Shift+X, Z. Now do you see? Boolean, I'm just given a data type as Boolean. By default, it has taken a false. Now I'll take it as a character. Now let's see what it will print. It will print a empty. Do you see what is this one? It is an empty actually. Let's say I'm giving it as, let's say, M. It's printing M. Let's say I'm taking it out. You see what it is printing?
Empty
It's an empty string, guys. It's not, there's nothing. Okay, it's an empty character. Okay. Empty character. You might be seeing it as a shape. Okay. Let me show you in a command prompt quickly. Windows R, Notepad. I'll say write one program. I'll copy this program itself, guys, without the package. Just for your understanding, desktop, charcheck.java. I'm giving the file name as charcheck.java. Say save. I'm keeping the code here. Charcheck. This is a class. Windows R. Command prompt I'm opening. Now I will give Java C. Charcheck. Okay, I have to go to the desktop, right? CD desktop. Java C, CHER, charcheck.java. Guys, in the desktop I have, right? Whenever you open a command prompt, by default, the username will come here. CD desktop, you will go to the desktop and I'm giving charcheck.java. Say Java C charcheck. Now the compilation is done. If you see here, there is a charcheck.class. There is charcheck.java. Now I want to execute the output. Say, I don't want .java and I want Java charcheck. Enter. Do you see any output here? No, right?
No, sir.
Yeah, because it is printed in empty space, guys. At the same time, if I go here and give a value as, let's say, H I'm giving, I'll show you it will print H. Now I have to compile it again. Let's say compile now. Now, if I execute, now you can see the H is printed. Okay. Why I showed this one was because you might get confused. Okay, it is a space. It is not a box actually. That's the reason I have showed you the other side. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. So coming back to the variables. Now, we know the types of variables. There are 8 types, but broadly categorized into 4. All integers will be of 4 types: byte, short, int, long. And you have 2 floating point numbers, or floating point numbers also called real numbers. I'll write it here. Floating point numbers are also, where can I write here? Yeah, data types. Floating point numbers are also called real numbers. Okay. Integers are called whole numbers. Okay. So we have seen float and double, then Boolean for true, false, and character to hold a single character. These are called primitive data types. What is a primitive data types? It just holds value, nothing else it can do. I told you it is primitive data types. Okay. Now we will see wrapper classes. We'll see the difference between wrapper classes. What is a wrapper class? What is a primitive? Before we jump into that one, then we have seen local variable. The local variable is the scope of a variable is within a method or within an execution location wherever there is a flower basis. Now, by default, whenever you're trying to use a local variable, for sure you have to initialize it or else it will throw an error for you. So that's where we have initialized. Whereas if you go for a instance variables, you have to specify that as part of a class, not as part of a method. Okay, for this one, you need not to specify a default value or any value. You need not to initialization. This initialization is called assigning value. Okay, assigning value is called initialization. Assigning value to a variable is called initialization. Okay, so specifying a variable and its data type is called declaration. Okay, declaration means you're specifying a variable name and its data type. So if you observe here, this is you're only specifying. It is called declaration. But whereas this is called initialization, you give a value also. Okay. So guys, give me a moment. I'll be back. I'll just get some water and come back. Okay. Now let us understand something called wrapper classes. What is wrapper? What is a wrapper, guys? Okay, I already written wrapper classes here. I'll add it. Yeah, what is a wrapper? Guys, are you with me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead. Tell me what is a wrap? What is wrap? What is wrapping? W-R-A-P, wrap. See, let's say you bought a gift for your friend. Do you give as it is or do you wrap it and there is a label you'll put across, you'll write, with a right card, right? Let's say happy birthday or, happy anniversary or a best wishes. Do you do that? Or you simply give a gift as it is? We will wrap it, right? Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you take any product today, take even your laptop, when you buy it or you take a mobile, it will come with a box. Inside that, again, there is a cover. There is a, for safety purpose as well as for a branding purpose and all, there will be a wrapping will happen, right? For any of the product you take. Or for stories also, proper stories, properly, holding it. Because a lot of times if you have to get a product, it might be manufactured somewhere and it might reach to you through various mechanisms for the product not to get damaged. They will pack it in a right manner. It's nothing but it's a wrapping. Even a chocolates wrappers are there, right? So all the items are wrapped in general for a purpose. So here, same way, we have something called a wrapper classes. A wrapper class is wrapping the value of a variable. Okay. Let me create it and show you. In the variables, let's say right click new class wrapper classes. Okay. I'm taking a public static void main. So here, what I want to do is I'll go to the explore variables. I copy these values as it is, guys. I'm copying all of these variables as it is. I go to my wrapper classes. I want to delete the first line, Control D to take out this line. And I want to paste this, Control V. Okay. Now, these all are giving a warnings. That's fine because we are not used. We are understanding what is a variable, how it can be used. Now, instead of byte, I just keep the first one as B caps, byte. For short, S caps. For int, I use integer. It's not an int, integer. For long, L caps. For float, F caps. For double, D caps. For Boolean, B caps. For character, C caps, but it's a character, full-fledged form. So these are called wrapper classes. A wrapper, for every primitive data type, there is a wrapper class. Only for integer, it is int to integer. I'm giving it in the comment here. And here, char to character. Right? Otherwise, rest of the things for Boolean, float, double, and all is used the same name as it is. But if you observe, the first character is capital. Guys, Java has something called a coding standards. Not only Java, but all the programming languages have a something called coding standards. Coding standards. What we use for Java is called Sun coding standards. What is Sun? Sun Microsystems is the one which you have used. Okay. Sun Microsystems. When they have created this one, this specific programming language, they have set up a coding standards. Okay. What are the coding standards? You have a types. What is the types? Which is your class, interface, enumeration, annotation, and record. All of these should go as a, first character of the word caps, subsequent word first character, capital letter. Okay. For type, which is either class or an interface or enumeration, annotation, and record, first character of the word should be capitalized. Okay, with a capital letter. What does it mean? If you observe our classes, we have created multiple, right? Let's say the first one we started with greetings. If it is a one word, we use it like directly, right? Greetings. Now, if you observe this, that's where it is. First character of the word should be capital. Okay. Should be capital. Now, what is the first character of the word here? Which is greetings is my class name. My first character is caps. Second, in case if I have two words, then the subsequent word's first character should be capital letter. So now take an example here. Now I have written few more things, right? Explore variables, instance variables demo, local variable demo. If you observe here, I have written wrapper classes. How did I write? Wrapper is a first word where I have made it as a capital letter for the first word. There is one more word is there, which is called classes. That's where the second word, first letter is caps. Okay. Let's say any sort of applications you can take, you will be having your beans, majority of the times, your beans will be like one word, like student, employee, company, and all. But whereas your operations class, or which has a functionality class, will have a, two words. Let's say employee service. Let's say employee service. Now you see here, employee is one word, service is another word. Each word's starting letter is caps. Right? That is how you specify the types. That is your classes, interfaces, and all. Then you have a method. methods and variables. Okay. You use camel case. Camel case mechanism. As if you observe this one, what is a camel case is till camel, it is looking small. In the case, the second word is caps. So how does a camel look? It has a bump, right? So that's where it has given the name as camel case. So here, let's take an example. We have a main method, right? First, we have a main method, right? Always, if it is a main one word, you will all small characters, right? What is the difference between a method and variable, guys? For a variable, you don't have a parenthesis, which is brackets. If it is a method, you have a parenthesis. Let's say main. Let's say tax calculation. If you observe here, tax is a first word, all small. Calculation is a second word. The second word, first character is caps. Okay. Let's say discounted amount. Let's say you go on buying for any of the products, they will show you, right? Let's say it is 100 rupees, and with the current seasonal discounts or a festival discounts, let's say it is 84 rupees. Then you say it as a discounted amount, right? Let's say opening balance, right? So I'll keep few as a variables and few as a methods. Let's say opening balance, tax calculation, right? Discounted amount. Okay. Let's say these are sufficient, I feel. So these methods and variables have a camel case mechanism, whereas you have a, I can say, fixed values. For example, you want to give it's a all caps letters. Let's say I'll say string academy. For example, this is what is my name of the institute. Let's say institute. Usually what we'll do, Ignite Tech Academy, right? This is what it is. Now, this institute, instead of giving all small characters, we'll give it as a capital letters, institute, right? This is how you mention. Whenever you see this one, okay, it is a fixed one. It is not going to change. Okay. Those things you will be using capital letters. So these are the three mainly used ones in Java as a coding standards. These are called Sun coding standards. Is it clear, guys, these three things?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So you have to remember this, guys. These all are the things will make you whether you are a professional or not. See, what happens is currently a lot of people will come to us for, for jobs and all. When I was a head of engineering for my last position, I used to, hire a lot of people and I used to do a lot of interviews. In 5 minutes, we'll come to know whether he's up to the mark or not. A lot of people will come with a wrong experiences they don't have any experiences and they come and apply. We'll come to know about of them in few minutes itself, because the way they write the code itself is understandable. If you are having a, at least 6 months of experience, you can showcase it as a 1 year or 2 years. But without writing the code, without knowing the things, if you put an experience, it's people can easily find it out, especially in the coding guys. Okay. So these coding standards will tell you how good you are in coding also. So that's where, if you observe back in the wrapper classes, you see here, this byte, short, integer, these are classes, guys. If I keep let me open the explore variables. If I keep a cursor in the byte, see here, there is nothing is it is showing. But at the same time, if I keep the class, my cursor in the byte, now you can see it is from a package called java.lang.byte. The byte class wraps. If you see here, guys, this is called documentation. Okay. Your IDE is so good that you can understand about of a specific things here itself. You need not to go to anywhere else for the information. It is the byte class wraps a value of primitive type, right? What it wraps? Primitive type byte in an object. Its intention is, this is what is, I'm going to write it here in the wrapper class. The wrapper class wraps a value of primitive type to an object. Okay. Now what is happening is you have given 120, which is byte, right? It is wrapping as an object. Okay. What is the use of it? 120 is 120 only, right? Whether you wrap it or doesn't wrap it, it is fine, right? What is the purpose? There is a purpose, guys. Starting from Java 5, there is a collections frameworks. When you are using a collection frameworks, it will not allow the primitive data types, but it allows the wrapper classes. Because there is a different mechanisms and concepts are over there. We will look after that one. For time being, let us understand a primitive data type can be wrapped with the help of wrapper classes like this. Okay. Now you can see here, the byte class wraps a value of primitive byte. Now let's take another one. Let's say float. The float class wraps a value of primitive type float in an object. An object of type float contains a single field whose type is, float. And it gave a lot of other information about from when it is starting from Java 1.0, it is there. Then it is, these are the authors, Lee Boynton, Arthur Van Hoff. And what is the purpose of this one? They have given a lot of information. Even you click on some link, it will take you to the next levels to understand. Here itself, there is a documentation for us. Okay. So currently what we understand is there is a wrapper class for your primitive data type. Okay. That's it. That much we can understand for now. Then in the next session, I'll help you out understand more about how you use a wrapper classes, what is the purpose of it. Then we get into the string, why string is not a data type, why it is an object, and what is the speciality of string in Java. Okay. So that's it for today, guys. Any questions if you have, I'll be happy to answer before we close it.